said hi.
What do you think I have?
You didn't do it! Man!
They messing with
I
you?
told me to stand up and clap and you walk back in. Have a good day, folks.
My computer was messing up this morning.
I blame one of the boys.
I just feel stupid every time because it's always something easy and I can't never figure it out. You're gonna do this real quickly. Have your homework laying out. I'm gonna come around and check it while you're doing this. So just have your homework laying there on your desk.
And it's a 48.
What homework? The homework is
It's your job for the rest of the year. Every time Jesse says something silly,
Hey.
turn around and smack. Alright? So your arm will try to get tired because
Mr. Everett, I didn't have a magazine for the last 2 years.
I forgot those were on there. It's something I did last year and I thought I'm not too concerned. Do this while I'm going. Just leave your homework lay there on your desk open while you're getting with everybody else and answering these questions. On this piece of scrap paper. On what? No. You just got to answer the questions.
Do we really have to ask each student?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So probably what you could do is if you get organized a little bit,
Okay, show hands. It's gonna take 4 minutes.
could you make it easier on everybody and just do it all at once? Yeah. Oh, what's going on? You stupid thing.
I think yours is the only one that does that.
That's because I am.
So you really did talk for a while.
Do what?
She told me about it. Oh, yeah?
Name the population. What was the population? That's the number in the population. Right. Province stats, Brown one. That's the population. What was the sample? Okay, and in this case, it happened to be Riley. And just one. You could put one. You could put Riley there. What was the piece of data? Say it again. All right, so the one's our piece of data. Is your data a parameter or statistic?
Yeah.
How come it's a parameter? Because don't look at just, we're not looking at just Riley. The only group that I took was you guys, right? So you're the population. So our piece of data is about that population. There's one of you taking a foreign language.
I
Some-
thought
I'm listening.
that meant like sample, not really.
Parameter goes with population. The way I remember it, what do they start with?
No, I know, I get that, that's what I'm saying, but if you said that it's about the data, our data is the one person, so that's the sample, so wouldn't that be a statistic? That
Well-
just makes sense in the whole.
But it's one person out of the whole class.
Alright,
So the data is about the whole class and it's about the one person. Right? But what we're saying is you guys are it. There's nobody else in the world right now for this survey. So you're the population, so it's a parameter. Give an inferential statistic about the info you collected. Make an inference about that.
But not very many seniors take form.
Okay? Now you gotta be careful what the senior's saying because what else do we have in here? Juniors? So just one junior now? So it could be not very many upperclassmen take foreign language. I don't know. Could we make the inference that one, somebody help me out with the calculator? 1 out of 14, divide that. Somebody's got a calculator. Use your phone if nothing else. Let's go. Start bringing a calculator because here pretty soon you're really going to need it.
Mine died. But I had.
Put some batteries in it.
Yeah, I had batteries.
I mean, that's real difficult.
So I gotta go all the way to Walmart to get it.
Bring it in and I'll put batteries in it. I got it. 0.07. So could we make an inference that only 7% of students at Trail take foreign language? We could. Would it be a correct inference? Probably not, because we use just you guys as our population. All right? So that's an inference we could make. Well, only 7% of people take foreign language. We might as well cut foreign language and spend that money somewhere else. All right? And a lot of times that's what they go by. Now, sometimes, and probably later on in the year I'll do it, I'll ask, have another survey, and it'll say, maybe I don't even want to say it because I think it's on the next class's survey. And then that'll run it all. So I'm going to say it this time. So, inferential statistics, you're making an inference. You're drawing some kind of conclusion from the information that you gather. Make sure you know population, what it is, what a sample is. Could we have used you guys as a sample? Yeah, we could have said the class was a sample instead of a population. If we said, all right, we're going to survey all of National Trail and we're just going to use you as a sample. That's not the way we did it this time, but parameter, remember parameter goes with population, statistic goes with sample.
We don't want to get these in our binder.
Nah. Take it home, show your folks you're actually doing something in math class. Questions on the homework? Get your books out. And again, whose notes are these? Yours. I'm never going to look at them again.
What's the date?
All right, 23rd.
They're not taking binders in it, That's that old binder in it.
That's good. Keep it and put these notes in there, because there does come times, Don, when I just don't feel like doing a whole lot of stuff. I say, all right, you know what? I'm not going to use your binder on this test. And if you got a binder, then you can use it. Grant's sitting where they're looking at you like, what? See? I'm just kidding. But then, somebody's not going to have a binder and they're going to be out of luck. You can laugh at them. All right, so on this, what we're going to cover today, distinguish between qualitative and quantitative data. Classify data with respect to the 4 levels of measurement. Now, whereas I wasn't real good at telling like populations and samples, I'm not real good at that. I'm a little better at this, but teenagers seem to have trouble with qualitative and quantitative. What do you think qualitative?
Words.
Sorta. What kind of words?
That's my best way to describe it. Whatever best way that might be out there, exactly
Qualitative. What do you think that means?
like quality.
Descriptive, some kind of quality. So I might be talking about your eye color, your hair color, your age, what kind of color of pants you're wearing, or who knows, but something that gives a quality. What do you think quantitative means?
The amount.
Something that actually counts, all right? You have 6 pieces of paper, you have 8 pieces of paper, so you're actually counting something to get it for that. Be able to classify data with respect to 4 levels of measurement. That part's sort of difficult when we get to it. It's just you got 4 different levels, and you got to be able to say, okay, now we're at this level, no, this time we're at this level, so on, so on, so on.
You're like, I'm gonna have to remind you every time.
Probably. All right, qualitative. Qualitative consists of attributes, labels, non-numerical entries. Now that says non-numerical. That's not actually the case. Because if I say Nick is 17 years old, it could sort of be both, right? And it could be a number. Your major here at Trail, qualitative. You're majoring in English. When I went through Trail, I majored in English because everybody has to take what? 4 English courses, right? So why not major in English if you gotta take 4 of them anyway? Place of birth, eye color, all qualitative. And Dom's probably smart enough, he's writing this down. When he writes it down, what might he write right underneath here? Maybe just a few examples, right? Different examples of qualitative. Hopefully he's not spending the time to draw a picture of this guy holding his degree, or if you're wasting that much time, then you're probably named Jacob. I got 2 Jacobs. Mr. Miller, you know, probably when I'm making fun of Jacob, it's probably the other one, right?
I'll probably hear that on the recording.
I don't care. Mr. McKnight's already gonna fire me, so. Quantitative data. Numerical measurement or counts. Now sometimes age could go both ways, because it's quantitative, because if I'm saying you're 17 years old, we're counting the years, but then there's other times that could be just putting you in a group of 17 years old where we're saying, all right, quality of this group is that they're all 17, this group is all 16. And a lot of times that's when we talked about insurance companies, that's what they do. They say ages, people ages 17 to 22 are in this group, and they're using that as a quality instead of a quantity. Weight of a letter, temperature, let's see some other numerical things. Height maybe, weight, shoe size. Oh yeah, anything that uses a number normally is quantitative, but not always. You got to be careful. Just because you see a number doesn't mean it's quantitative. I just gotta remember.
Your time difference.
I know I didn't. I didn't touch it. All right, data sets can consist of 2 types. We've already covered this. I'm just going to go through it again real quick. This is just me. I told you I stole these PowerPoints, and there's actually 2 different sets of PowerPoints. And I like to take some things from one, some things from the other, and sometimes they're repeated, just to go back over it. There, I tapped it. Shut up. All right, so data. It could be qualitative data, could be quantitative data. We just went over this. Non-numerical entries or attributes. And then that one consists of numerical measurements or counts. All right, an example here. Base prices of several vehicles are shown in the table. Which data are qualitative data and which are quantitative data? So of all this data that we've collected here, what's qualitative and what's quantitative? What tells you a quality? The model. So all this right here is what? Qualitative. Good. Qualitative. And then what's quantitative? base price. That's quantitative. Don't let this confuse you. It said F-150, even though that's got a number in it, it's still telling you a quality, right? Now, if you were just looking at certain trucks, then the F-150 does actually tell you a numerical. There's a reason that it's called the F-150, but we're not going to go into all that. So qualitative, quantitative.
Hold on, I'm kind of all written down.
I don't have to write all that down.
Well, I want an example, so whenever I have it.
Alright, I'll give you that, that's right. He just wanted to write it down because it's about trucks, but.
I think they are.
There's only like one truck on there. There's a Crown Vic on it.
Yeah, some of them, the sport track,
The only truck
That's
that I
SUV.
XL, well,
You did it for something.
you know when I come over there and punch you, they can't see it on the video, right?
Hey, you want to bring your mic away?
That's what it was. It got messed up last night because they were running it down there so you could listen. Probably. I don't care. I told them a long time ago, about 7, 8 years ago, they wanted to put cameras in every room. Do it.
I feel so uncomfortable.
And that's, I would be happy with it, because that way, then when I have to have an argument with somebody, I didn't do it. That wasn't me that messed with that. That wasn't me that, and I could go back
They're
and,
not gonna be sitting there watching. There's no
I
match.
could go back and watch it though, if there was ever anything that came out. But a whole bunch of the other teachers said,
No one has time.
no, I don't wanna have a camera in my room. What do some of your other teachers do that, apparently they don't want cameras in their rooms? Alright, so this just shows, we could've went on this one, just you got it. Qualitative data, quantitative data. Love how I made that, all that motion and everything, right? It's all big professional. Some college professor making his, what's the people that work for a college professor, a grad student, making those grad students make him up some special PowerPoint. So when you get to be a grad student, you'll have that. All right, level of measurements. These are the 4 levels of measurements. You might just write this down, levels of measurement, and then write what the 4 of them are. Maybe write them up and down, because I think, let's see here. This is just gonna show them over here. I'm gonna move that box again. But these 4 levels of measurements, the next 5 or 6 slides will explain them. Michael, did you go home and watch the video of last class?
Yes.
Right, you did yesterday, didn't you, when you were missing it? No, Michael's not. Alright, so 4 levels: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. And that goes from lowest to highest. These levels of measurement determines which statistical calculations are meaningful. The 4 levels. And as we go through them, they'll make more sense. I know right now they probably don't make a whole lot of sense. You're thinking, all right, what's nominal mean? What's ordinal mean? Yeah, and some of you might know. Any idea what ordinal means? That's a word you probably heard at some point. Wrong root word. We'll figure it out here in a minute then. All right, nominal. Yeah, ratio. So what do you do with the ratio? That's why it's way down there. You actually do some math with it, right? And that's why it's... data at the nominal level are qualitative only. Let me see here before you start writing a bunch of stuff down, because I think there's better. We'll go back. Maybe not. All right. So nominal is just giving you a piece of data that's qualitative. It's just giving you a quality. So here they have names of the students in the class. So Mr. Black's name came first on my list. That's his. Sean Black is his nominal name or nominal piece of data. Just because he came first on my list, and does that mean that he's better than all the rest of you?
Probably,
Yeah. All right, so you can't do any kind of calculating or any kind of math, no computations with something at the nominal level. It's just something that's there. All right. Another one that we'll probably use a lot is freshman. Well, that's a different level. We're not saying that, but that's not actually nominal. So nominal, just something real basic. Colors in the U.S. flag, just something that gives a quality. That's one kind of data, one level of data. All right, ordinal. Notice this is why I didn't say, I started to say freshman, sophomore stuff. That's actually at the ordinal level. So ordinal level could be qualitative, could be quantitative, but all it is, and the key word for ordinal, it's arranged in some order. All right, it's arranged in some order. Now, when you look at that order, that doesn't really tell you anything. If you're, let's see, anybody playing soccer? What's your number, Bree? 25. What's your number, Nick? 4. So that means Nick's a whole lot better than you because his number's a lot lower, right? Or you could say that your number's a whole lot higher than his, so you're like 6 times better than he is. That doesn't mean anything, right? And that's what an ordinal number is. Just gives some kind of order. Now, sometimes when you order things, does it mean something? Yeah. But at this level, it's when it's not meaningful. So if I put all of you on in my grade book, again, Sean's name comes first. He's number 1 in my grade book. Then Cody. And then we get way down here to the end in the grade book, and it's Carson. Does that mean that Cody is 7 times better than Carson because 7 times 2 is 14? It doesn't work that way, right? So that's ordinal, arranged in order, but the differences between the entries are not meaningful. So the difference between 1 and 2, and the difference between 1 and 14, or 2 and 14, or 2 and 5, doesn't really mean anything. That makes sense? Nick, that make any sense? Easy stuff. I'm just explaining it too much. You sure? So what's that mean? So you'd rather I explained it a lot?
You don't know.
Now I'm confused. Alright, so I don't know what it is. So nominal level, this is what I thought was coming up on the other one. Qualitative data only, categorized using names, labels, so on. No mathematical computations can be made. We went over that. Ordinal level, that's what it is. It's after each 2. I put it on the slide. Ordinal level, qualitative or quantitative, so it could be numbers. Data can be arranged in order, but the differences don't tell you anything. So going from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, doesn't really mean anything. All right, the next one, the interval level. At the interval level, they're quantitative, so it's dealing with some kind of number, and some kind of number that you can actually do something with. You got to be careful with this. Notice it says a 0 entry simply represents a position on the scale. So when I say it's 0 degrees outside, does that still actually mean something? Yeah. All right. So it actually represents a position on the temperature scale. When they're talking about an inherent 0, that means nothing, all right? But when we talk about temperature being 0, there's still a temperature. All right, it's cold, right? Examples here, temperatures, years on the timeline, Atlanta Braves World Series victories. So we can actually look at those, and they actually have a certain amount. Now, the thing with this level, with the interval level, we can do some calculations. Because if I say, this morning it was 59 degrees, yesterday at this time it was 64 degrees, what can we say about, or how can we compare yesterday to today? It was 5 degrees warmer. So we can actually do some kind of calculations with them. All right? So at the interval level, you can actually do some kind of calculations with them. And the last one, the ratio level.
Are we about done writing?
Yeah, probably. Didn't have to write any of it. ratio level measurement, similar to the interval level, but a zero entry is meaningful. See this, and I remember this confused me last year too. Why they say that zero is meaningful, huh? Let's see if I can figure it out here. Because to me, with temperature, is the zero meaningful? Yeah, it's still telling you a temperature, right? Here, ratio of 2 is the same one. Here, ratio of 2 data values can be formed. So let's see here. Ratio of 2 data values can be formed, so the one data value can be expressed as a ratio. What they're saying with the ratio level, if we do temperature and we take 59 and make it a ratio 59 to 64, and we change that to a decimal or percent, does that really do anything? No. But with these, it would. So if you had things in a list, if I put you guys in a list and we did a ratio where the list didn't just go by what your name is, we went by age or something else, and we could set up a ratio, say, okay, this actually means something. Maybe not so much, maybe age. This actually means something, where Cody is 2 times older than somebody else, right? But then it would be a ratio. So if you're 16 and I'm going to compare you to somebody who is 4 years old, then you're 4 times older than that person. So we can actually do some kind of ratio with it. A lot of numbers you can't do that with. All right? If I was going by your grades here, and Sean had 100% in his grade, and Carson had a 25%, we set up a ratio, and we could say that Sean's grade is 4 times higher than Carson's. All right? So that's what, at the ratio level, that's what you can do with it. Now, a lot of numbers you can't do that with. A lot of numbers, it doesn't make any sense to say, you know, this compared to this is 5 times as much. It just doesn't make sense. Weights, that's one we probably should have used. Could use my weight and compare it to your guys's, and I'm probably about twice as much as you. Shut up, Jesse. Seeing that little smirk on your face. So we could use a ratio. Probably somebody like Riley over there probably weigh like 3 times as much as her almost. All right, so the ratio level, similar to the interval level, zero entry is an inherent zero. Here, maybe this will explain it a little better. So it implies none. That means if I stuck Cody's grade on here, he's got no points. All right? Whereas when we're on the temperature scale, does that 0 mean there's no temperature? No, it means there is a temperature there, but it's at 0 degrees or 0 Celsius or whatever it happens to be. A ratio of 2 data values can be formed, so you can make a ratio out of it. One data value can be expressed as a multiple of the other, so like 4 times 1 or 1's half of the other or whatever. That helped a little bit. That makes a little more sense. See, look, you see this? See how this looks all cheap and not very good? I made up this slide to explain it. So when it says it's an inherent 0, that means that's all it's telling you is that it means that person or that whatever has none. Whereas with temperature, there's still, it means something on that scale. Alright, some examples here. Two data sets are shown. Which data set consists of data at a nominal level? Which data set consists of data at an ordinal level? So, which one of these is nominal? Which one's ordinal? One on the right's nominal. Everybody agree with that? What's nominal mean again? Okay, it's just some kind of quality, right? Names there. So that looks like nominal. Why is this one ordinal? Okay, it goes in the order, so it's ordinal. See if Cody's ready. So that one was ordinal because it ranks them. Now, with the ordinal level, American Idol on Tuesday was the top TV program for that week, whatever it was. House was number 4. Does that mean American Idol was 4 times better than House just because it was 1 and that was 4? No. When you put it in the ordinal, you can't make that ratio. And then the other is nominal. Randy, is that making sense? You can pick all those out yourself. 2 data sets are shown. Which data set consists of interval and which is a ratio? One on the right, a ratio? Everybody think that? This one's an interval then? So we'll say interval here. Ratio here. How come? When you're trying to separate between these two, and sometimes this is hard to separate between these two, when you're saying something's in the ratio, you can compare the two and say, hey look, these guys had 210 home runs, these guys only had 160, they had almost 1.5 times as much as the other. And if you can say something like that, then that's great. Now when you go 1923 to 2000, can you say, oh yeah, 1923's like, or 2000's like 1.5 times better than 1923? Just doesn't make sense, does it? All right, so interval ratio, see if we're right. Interval level, ratio level. Pretty impressed with Grant. See, I didn't think he knew it, and he just proved me wrong. All right, the summary of these. Hopefully this will be helpful. Might write this down, and if I ever get it up here. Again, it's totally up to you. If you think this chart will help you, then write it. If not, don't write it. Level of measurement, you got your nominal, you got your ordinal, you got your interval and your ratio. Put data in categories. All of them put data in categories. Arrange data in order. Nominal doesn't arrange them in order, it just gives names. But all the rest of them put them in some kind of order. Can you subtract data values from nominal and ordinal? Can't subtract. Just because Sean's 1 on my class list and Carson's 14 on my class list, I can't subtract them and say Carson is 13 times better than Sean because he's got the number 14. Determine if one data value is a multiple of another. Same idea there. Can't say Carson's 14 times better than Sean because his number's 14 and Sean's is 1. So when you're going through trying to pick out which kind of data you're dealing with, nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. What's probably going to be the easiest? What can you get rid of? Or how to say this? Probably already messed it up. Is it easiest to start and see if it's nominal and then work your way down to ratio? I would think it might be easier to go maybe sort of the other direction.
It's the same thing.
But
If there was another one, it'd be better.
But what I'm saying is, can you tell if you actually have numbers that you can do some math with, then you know you're going to be on that end. So that'd be the first thing I check. Maybe that's not the first thing you check, because I think mathematically. Nominal and ordinal. Nominal is pretty easy to pick out. It's just given some kind of name, some kind of quality. When you get to these three, sometimes it's a little more confusing to decide which is which. We're not going to do a whole lot with this first chapter. We deal with it, but then after that, when we start using it, hopefully you'll just, Mr. Miller there will just be able to see, hey, I can't just subtract these two pieces of data and get some number. I can't divide these two pieces of data and get some number that really means anything. That's the whole purpose of this, all right? Not the idea that you gotta know every single time you're dealing with a nominal piece of data or a ratio piece of data. It's more, you gotta know, hey, can I do this math or some kind of math with this data? That's what matters. All right, so be able to tell difference between qualitative and quantitative. What's qualitative mean again? Some kind of quality. Brown eyes, blonde hair, name starts with an S, who knows, whatever. Quantitative, some kind of number. 5'6", 6'2", all right? Classify data with the 4 levels, and that's what we just went over. All right, let's do this. Hey, we got time here. This will be the start of your homework. I'll do some of your homework for you. We'll just do them together. We can get Bree to wake up so I don't have to call her mom and say, yeah, she's sleeping in my class already. Jacob, give me that book.
What?
You thought I was going to tell you.
Is that the ANAC book?
And if it ever comes up missing, you're the first one I'll come to look for.
Well, I'll probably be the one that steals it. It will come up missing.
All right, so this is the start of your homework. Page 13, 1 through 18. We're just going to run through these together real quickly. See how many of these I can get wrong. All of them?
Hey, you want me to check for you?
No. You did. That's not what you said. Don't forget, that other book is my book. Actually,
I'm gonna buy one.
go ahead. And I'll sell it to you. Because to buy an answer book, you gotta have a school ID number.
I know.
I have a school
Sure.
I have a lunch ID number.
Go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead. Because when I explained the other day, what counts 70% of your grade? Your test. Is that book, when you buy it, going to have the answers to the test in it? No. So then you're going to cheat all that time, and you're going to score like hundreds on every homework, which every one of you just scored 100 on the homework. 40 didn't have the answer. Because do I really care about the homework? No, I just walk around and check it. I guess if you're
Organize that link. That'd be right.
just about. I mean, sometimes I look and know that,
Mr.
hey,
Like, you have 3 in the wrong spots, cut that one off.
you know, sometimes I look and know, hey, number 15 should have been a word answer, and you put down 7. Well, then I know that you're just writing down stuff so we want to start checking. Number 1, name each level measure for which data can be qualitative. Which 2 levels, or which of those levels were qualitative, possible qualitative data? It was on that chart that we just looked over. And it's right there on the next page over, isn't it? So what were they? All right. Nominal, ordinal. Number 2, name each level of measurement for which it can be quantitative. Interval, is that the only 2? Ordinal also, right? And there's a little chart right there. Don't be afraid to use your book. That little chart is right there on the page prior to that. Okay. Number 3, true or false. Data at the ordinal level are quantitative only. False. And again, on the true and false, don't explain. I don't care. Just know that it's false. Number 4, for data at the interval level, you cannot calculate meaningful differences between the data entries. So if you're at the interval level, can you subtract them? Yeah, you can. So is that true or false?
False.
False. Number 5, more types of calculations can be performed with data at the nominal level than with data at the interval level. True or false? False? Because at the nominal level, that's right. At the nominal level, that's the most basic. Can you do any kind of calculations? No. Can't add, subtract, multiply, divide, anything at the nominal level. Those are just names. Can't say Sean minus Cody. That doesn't make sense. Number 6, data at the ratio level cannot be put in order. Could be, couldn't it? So that's false. Number 7, classify data by the type. In exercise 7 through 8, determine whether the data are qualitative or quantitative. On this, instead of writing out the words, just put Q or Q for your answer. I'm just kidding. You can't do that.
You're being serious until you realize you can't do that.
I wasn't being serious. I knew better than that, goofball. Come on now. Number 7, qualitative or quantitative. You can just write out the 4 first letters if you wanted, just with the L or the N though, and shorten it up. Telephone numbers in the directory, qualitative or quantitative? What's quantitative mean again?
It's not descriptive.
Quantitative means some kind of quantity, something that you can count, right? When they give you a phone number, did they give you a phone number because that's what you were, was 437-7285 was, it's a quality, right? So qualitative. Phone numbers are, even though they're numbers, they're just they mean nothing. You can't subtract them, add them, do anything with them. So it's qualitative. Number 8, heights of hot air balloons, qualitative or quantitative? Quantitative, because that's actually, height is actually measuring something. Number 9, body temperatures. Quantitative again. Number 10, eye collars of models. Qualitative. We all know that when Mr. Smith's looking at models in a magazine, that's what he's looking at, is their eye collar.
What else?
Number 11. Who said that? Was that you? Oh, it was Jacob. I should have known. That was Jacob Hurd talking about the websites. You might follow along on his computer.
He's lying.
Number 11, links of songs on an MP3 player. Quantity again, right? Quantitative. I mean, is an MP3 player even a thing anymore?
Well, it is, but.
Nobody uses it. I never had one. I didn't know if it was still something that was around or not. Number 12, carrying capacities of pickups. Look at Grant perk up here. Actually talk about something that he quantitative. Number 13, players' numbers on for a soccer team. Just,
Actually, it could be both.
just qualitative, right? No, can't, because you don't put a number on the back of somebody and say that they're that Bree's number is 25 because she's the 25th greatest player on the team. That's number 14, your student ID here at school. Which one is it? Qualitative. Did they give you that number for a reason? No, not really. It's made up some number. Number 15, weights of infants at a hospital. That's quantitative. 16, species of trees in a forest. So we go outside and we say, hey, that's an elm tree, that's an oak tree. Qualitative. It's just a quality, right? 17, responses on an opinion poll. Qualitative. A little harder on that one because do you really know what the responses were about? No, so it could change. Number 18, wait times at a grocery store. Quantitative. Actually, if you've ever worked at McDonald's, I worked at McDonald's for a while, right there by the drive-through window, what do they got? A little timer. You're supposed to have the food ready and out the door in 30 seconds. From the time they put their order in and you hit total, it starts counting down. It's supposed to be, it gets to 30 seconds. And if you don't, they keep track. Well, I don't know if they still do or not. When I worked there, they used to keep track of it, and you didn't get your raise at the end of each month or whatever if you didn't have a good put out time. Is that still how it is? Well, see, it used to be, and they kept track of them, that you're supposed to get them out in 30 seconds, and
Was that the homework?
no, that wasn't homework. Yeah. If you didn't get them out in 30 seconds, 19 through 30 is the assignment. If you didn't get them out in 30 seconds and they averaged them up for the month, you know, when you were on your first month and your second month, it used to be you got a raise once a month for the first 3